Very good morning and welcome to another edition of Radio Morning Digest. We are always glad to, guide you through the conversations and stories that are shaping Africa. My name is Chinatu Oji and I'm not alone in the studio. I have the another melanin popping, Dara. Hi Dara, how are you?
Good morning, I'm very well and I'm happy as well to be here with you to do justice to the things we have on ground today. And I'll urge our listeners or our viewers to key in and stay with us on this program.
You heard Dara, key in. And how do you key in? By subscribing to our YouTube channel, by following us across our different social media platforms, by commenting and engaging in our conversation, and even volunteering to be a guest on any of our programs. It could be Idea Morning Digest, it could be the list of all the programs that we have, and you can do that by reaching out to us via our email address at ideatv@gmail.com. Well, we're looking at the headlines this morning before we go on a short break. After that break, we'll be back to give you the full gist. So let's have the headlines. First is the United States adds Nigeria to expanded travel restriction list.
New tax laws to bring relief from 2026, Tinubu assures Nigerians.
You'll also be hearing that Polish frozen food group Fruitful sets up operations in Egypt. All right, and we also have that Donald Trump has sued the BBC over defamation. Well, let's go on a short break now. The news continues when we return.
Number 1. Synthetic biology advances. Synthetic biology is pushing science into new territory. Using AI-guided gene editing, researchers are engineering organisms to produce biofuels, biodegradable plastics, and even synthetic meat. In 2023, Ginkgo Bioworks announced partnerships to design microbes that can manufacture sustainable chemicals at scale. Moderna and BioNTech are expanding mRNA technology beyond COVID vaccines to treat cancer and rare genetic diseases. The global synthetic biology market is expected to surpass $30 billion by 2030. By 2026, the line between biology and technology will blur even further, making synthetic biology one of the most transformative fields of the decade. So there you have it, 15 more technologies that, alongside the first 17 we covered, are set to define 2026. Together, they show how quickly innovation is moving beyond our screens and into every corner of our life, from the materials we use to the way we connect and even how we think. And if you missed part 1, make sure to check it out next. If you made it this far, let us know what you think in the comment section below. For more interesting topics, make sure you watch the recommended video that you see on the screen right now. Number 2.
Welcome back. It's now time for us to get into the stories we have for you today.
All right, and the first story says the United States has announced new travel restrictions affecting Nigeria following a presidential proclamation signed yesterday aimed at tightening entry rules for nationals of countries considered high risk. Nigeria is among 15 countries newly placed under partial restrictions, according to a White House fact sheet released on December 16, 2025. The decision is based on what the United States described as persistent gaps in screening, vetting and information sharing, which it says pose national security and public safety concerns. The White House cited the activities of extremist groups operating in parts of Nigeria alongside visa overstay rate and challenges with identity and travel document verification as key reasons for the move. Under the proclamation, restrictions vary by country and include exemptions for lawful permanent residents, existing visa holders, diplomat athletes, and cases deemed to be in the national interest. United States authorities say the measures are country-specific and intended to encourage greater cooperation on security, immigration control, and information sharing, while allowing for case-by-case waivers. I don't know how to feel about this, but it feels like it's something that we already saw coming. We've always known Donald Trump's stand when it comes to cases of immigration. But I'm sure many Nigerians do not expect that they will also be in the list of people. But you cannot, especially with all that's been happening in Nigeria, you agree with me that Donald Trump already declared Nigeria as a country of particular concern. And with that label, it comes with a lot of things. Now we are seeing restrictions, and it's stated in the fact sheet that because of the insecurity level here, we are already seen as high risk, and we have some notion when you introduce yourself as a Nigerian outside, people want to be extra sure. They want to start checking their luggage. They want to, they just have to act strangely. And first of all, it's because of the character and image that we've portrayed in, time past. But why I usually feel uncomfortable saying this is because it is not just Nigerians who have these attributes, but maybe we are louder. Maybe we say a lot of things, because I see some people who, they just travel out today and they become content creators, and they start saying a lot of things that puts their country in jeopardy, that makes their country, come out in a bad light. And when we now see things like this, it's issues that have compounded over time. It's not just because somebody overstayed visa only. It is because consistently we've done things that has made the US now say we need to shake up our security and tighten things up. I also want us to remember that we shouldn't see this as a spite. I'm saying this because a lot of people would say, oh, Donald Trump doesn't allow the small countries to fly. Well, I've said this over time, that when cases like this arise, it's a clear example of go and fix your country. It's a clear example of go and fix your economy, go and do things right. Because honestly, we should be telling people should be, fighting to get visas to come to Nigeria as well. We have all it takes to be that power, that world power. We may not be number one, but trust me, that if we truly, in practicality, are the giant of Africa, our economy is strong, our naira's value doesn't depreciate every now and then. Because you hear how people will tell you how the naira was so strong, the dollar couldn't even stand before. But where are we today? So there are a lot of things that could be fixed in Nigeria, and people will not be interested in traveling now. I remember people telling me, my lecturers telling me, that people were coming into Nigeria to school because they were so sure of the quality of education. But these days, people leave Nigeria and they're giving testimony in their different places of worship. It feels like an escape into a better life.
Yes.
So
Yes.
I do not blame Donald Trump for doing this. I rather see it as a means to ask us to sit up and fix things right in our country. I don't know if you have a contrary opinion.
Well, when it comes to travel restriction, the first thing that comes to people's mind is panic. They start panicking about the situation. In as much as this is not a total ban, I mean, people who have green visas, proper documentation, can as well travel. But then, my major concern about this story is about our reputation as a country. The fact that we are among the restricted country to travel to US, we have been restricted from traveling to US, even if it's not a total ban for those who have their legal documents to travel out. But then it has to do with our reputation, and this does not call for defense and all of that. I just think it's high time for us to wake up and then do the needful. This story also shows how improper documentation and security, that they have consequences. When your documents are not complete, or you do poor documentation, all this insecurity and all of that, they all have consequences. And Donald Trump, since the last few months, has been talking about Nigeria's security, seeing us as a country of a particular concern and all of that. Now it is about travel restriction. So I just think it's high time for us to, work on our identity, work on what's the battle we are known for, and then let us fix things so that we'll gain our good reputation back. I think the government needs to, create a stricter and proper documentation when it comes to traveling, when it comes to doing documentation for traveling, visa and the rest. I think it's high time we start doing it properly to avoid all of this restriction, because many people, other Nigerians, what comes to their mind is they have restricted us from traveling, or they have made documentation more, difficult for us and all
Stringent.
of that, seriously. So I just think we know US, we know Donald Trump to, be that kind of security conscious person. We know the US to be security conscious as well. So I just think that since our country is involved, we need to talk about it, we need to do something about it, and then let us also be among the genuine country. That's whenever it comes to traveling, we are genuine, we do proper documentation and every other aspect that is making them to add us as the countries that will be restricted from traveling abroad.
That's another important thing that you said, because if we as citizens do the right thing, then you can actually sue the government if they deny you of, let's say you've passed through all that you need to pass through, all the guidelines that are stipulated,
Yes.
you've not gone against the rule, then it's possible for you to drag
Travel.
anybody to court. And,
Yes.
you can easily say, yes, I did this, but this was the case. But I think we can take the next story now.
Okay. President Bola Tinubu has assured Nigerians that the new tax regime scheduled to take effect in 2026 will ease the burden on the poor, low-income earners and small businesses. The assurance was given yesterday in Ibadan, Oyo State during the 8th annual Senator Abiola Ajimobi Roundtable and 76th posthumous birthday lecture of the former governor held at the University of Ibadan. Speaking through the executive chairman of the Federal Inland Revenue Service, Zacchaeus Adedeji, the president said recent economic reforms were necessary to stabilize and revitalize the economy. He said early indicators show improvement, citing economic growth, easing inflation, reduced fiscal deficits, and renewed investor confidence, with several companies returning to profitability after years of losses. President Tinubu said Nigerians would feel the benefits more clearly in the coming year, particularly through tax laws that exempt food, medication, education, agriculture, and shared transportation from heavy taxation while reducing multiple taxes on businesses. He urged Nigerians not to be apprehensive about the reforms, stressing that the policies are designed to deliver long-term relief and economic stability, while also calling on political leaders in Oyo State to unite ahead of 2027 elections. Well, this sounds encouraging, especially when the president says food, medicine, education, transportation, and agriculture will be protected from heavy taxes on paper. It sounds good on paper, but exactly what there is kind of that kind of distrust. I don't know how to really put it. This is not the first time that we've been promised things like this, that things will get better when it comes to medicine, education, transportation, road. Many things we've been promised severally, and then as time goes on, those things did not come to pass. So I just think if at all the president is assuring us that the tax, I will only feel it for a while. Yes, because that is what the story. I think from the angle I'm saying this story, from the perspective I'm saying this story, we will feel it. We'll definitely feel these taxes that is imposed on us. But then, if the president is assuring us that as time goes on, things will start falling in places or will benefit us at the long run, I think it is a bit encouraging. Even though, and as well, I just think, I hope it will reflect in the market prices, the things we buy from the markets and all of that, because there is no way we'll be paying taxes and then we still food prices are still the way they are, or they are increasing and all of that after all these promises. I mean, this is not the first time we're getting promise from the presidents, not just Tinubu, other presidents as well, and then nothing could be done about their promises. So I don't know if you have.
So there's something called economic reforms, and when governments embark on economic reforms, sometimes they're very painful and hard to deal with. And they tell you this, that we are embarking on this reform because we want to make your lives better. And just as you've pointed out, The problem is not in saying we are embarking on economic reform. It is in seeing the results. We are tired of potentials. We want to see it happen in real time. How does this really affect us? How does this make my life better, as the one who is selling pepper in the market? How does this make the person's life who is, fishing? How do they call them now? Fishermen or fisherwomen? Whatever they are doing, how does your economic reform affect me? How does it affect the school my child goes to? How does it affect the healthcare system? Until we are able to see, the ordinary citizens that are able to see how those things play out, they may not appreciate the economic reforms. And so the president, well, this is what we'll be discussing in the discussion segment, but it's good that we have this opener. The president is saying it's going to be tough, but just give us some time. It will be easy. And that was what they said with the fuel subsidy. And I was hoping that fuel subsidy is gone and we are now paying more for fuel. So with time, between 2023 and now, how many years now? And there's still, there's no fuel scarcity anymore. However, the price of fuel is still hitting 800 naira. And I'm not sure that was what we bargained for.
Yes.
Because I was hoping that we'll find a way around to ensure that fuel, high as high, 500 naira, 350, just something that's very lenient, because whether you like it or not, a lot of things running in Nigeria are dependent on fuel. That's why the man who is selling water leaf will tell you fuel cost. And you're wondering, does she use fuel to fertilize her crops? That's not the case, but she has to go to the farm. She has to pay. She has to feed to be alive to go to the farm. So when you put all of this together, realize that fuel is at the core of almost everything existing in Nigeria, and that's how it plays out. So it's not a problem to have a new tax reform policy. We're already seeing it play out, but people are already biting. It is crazy. People are already biting. And it's not like people haven't been paying tax. Nigerians have been paying tax, but maybe not in this way. And the question has always been, where's my tax? Because if I'm paying tax and I have constant electricity, I won't have a problem. But I have to pay tax and I'll still buy fuel for 800 naira. And I'll not just buy the fuel, I'll queue to buy the fuel. I'll go to the market and they're telling me that chicken is now 35,000 naira. Because feeds are now very expensive. They can't transport it. Too many issues. How do you think it will make me feel? And I'm speaking as an ordinary Nigerian citizen. So these are the indices we need to look and take our action. But we have to stop here because we're having this discussion. And so let's go on to the next story. Polish frozen fruit and vegetable producer Fruitful has signed an agreement with El-Swedi Industrial Development, a subsidiary of Egypt's El-Swedi Electric Group, to establish a new horticultural processing operation in Egypt. According to Egypt's General Authority for Investment and Free Zones, the partnership has secured a site in 10th of Ramadan City, where Fruitful will develop a modern frozen food production facility aimed largely at export markets. The project, which will occupy about 0.9 hectares, will house a production unit equipped with advanced food processing technologies, including individually quick frozen and freeze drying systems, with a planned output of about 600 tons per month. Although the total investment cost has not yet been disclosed, authorities say most of the output will meet international quality standards and be exported, reinforcing Egypt's role in global agri-food supply chains. Fruitful Chief Executive Officer Yasser Moshi said Egypt was selected due to its strong infrastructure, investment-friendly policies, and strategic access to regional and international markets, as well as its large agricultural base. Egypt is Africa's leading strawberry producer and the continent's second largest mango producer, a capacity expected to support the new plant. Officials estimate the project will create over 5,000 direct and indirect jobs across farming, agro-processing, cold storage, and logistics, further boosting value addition in Egypt's fruit export industry. Great. One thing about me, I'll always vie for collaboration. And I love how Egypt has seen the potential, or Polish has been able to find the potential and a common ground in Egypt, so much so that they have a partnership to increase their horticulture level. I want to see more of this happen in Africa. I do not believe that any country can survive in isolation or can, meet up with the economic demands of the people in isolation. Collaboration, bilateral relationship is the way out. And until we are able to have that code, we may just be turning around in cycles. So I like that Egypt and Polish are having this relationship. I want to see how the economy of that country by 2030 goes even better. It's one thing to sign an agreement. It's one thing for all the parties to stay true to the agreement. And sometimes we can chicken out. But this looks like a very good deal. And I want to see exactly what Egypt makes of this. It wasn't easy. A country like Polish, they don't just work with people. If you've seen the trajectory, they are very careful with their collaborations. And so picking Egypt, they've seen the success, especially. We know that most of the strawberries that we enjoy even in Nigeria comes from Egypt, even outside of Africa. Egypt is exporting the strawberry. And so a country that has been able to sustain that momentum in giving you quality, in giving you quantity as well.
Yeah.
It's easy to collaborate with them, and they've seen their successes in some of the things they've done, and they say, "Oh, let us see what can we do." Sometimes people think that Egypt is one small London. We sometimes forget that it's part of Africa. Maybe because of the complexion of the people there as well. But yes, they are our brothers and sisters too. And so we must take lessons from here. What can other African countries, especially those in West Africa, what can we learn from Egypt? How can we translate that knowledge into helping our own self? Because whether we like it or not, Africa has to rise, and it won't rise on the basis of competition. If the competition has to happen, let it be healthy. So, but whatever the case may be, let us vie for more collaboration with other countries within and outside our scope.
Yes, so I really think this is a good one for Egypt, and it shows confidence in infrastructure, really. Being a country that we've known over the years, like you rightly mentioned, to import strawberries to our country. So yes, imagine what they are offering. They're not just offering fruits. They are not just offering raw fruits. It's freezing, processing, packaging, and exporting the finished product. So I think it is a good one. And like you rightly mentioned, collaboration matters a lot. And then, come to think of it, other African countries have what it takes to do exactly what this country is doing. We have the raw materials. African countries have the raw materials that it takes to establish whatever they want to do. The only thing that we don't have is investor system trust. I think that's the only thing we are lacking. So this story shows that when policies and power supply or logistics, even investments, when they set rules, their rules are very clear. And then I like the fact that it is coming from, like you said, our brothers. They are our brothers. It's coming from a country that we can actually talk about, boast about, and all of that. So I think it's a good one for Egypt. I like the idea that they are coming up with. It's a big win indeed for them. And like we always say, implementation matters. Let all of this be implemented rightly and for a very long time, and let it be what it's whatever that is worth doing, whatever that you think of, let it be what it's at the long run. I would always say that it is not enough to say things, it is not enough to start it, but as time goes on, is it yielding results, the right result that it needs to yield? And then if all of this yield the right result, I think it is a good step.
A very good step in the right direction indeed. But let us look at the headlines that we brought this morning to you. And the first was that the United States has added Nigeria to the expanded travel restriction list.
And then we saw that new tax laws to bring relief from 2026 Tinubu assures Nigerians.
And you also heard finally that Polish frozen food group Fruitful sets up operations in Egypt. Well, we'll go on a short break now. On the other side, it'll be time for our discussion segment. And like I already mentioned earlier, we'll be talking about the new tax law starting from 2026, which is a few weeks from now.
Yes.
Will Nigerians get real impact, or will we have more questions to ask? Let's find out after the break.
Blockchain technology. Blockchain is most commonly associated with cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin, but its potential goes far beyond that. Blockchain offers a decentralized, secure, and transparent way to record transactions, which is being applied in industries like finance, supply chain management, and healthcare. For instance, blockchain can verify the origin of products and supply chains or ensure the integrity of medical records. But blockchain still faces hurdles. Its energy consumption and scalability are major issues. By 2025, the blockchain market is expected to grow to $39.7 billion, but widespread adoption will depend on overcoming these challenges. Augmented Connected Workforce. The Augmented Connected Workforce leverages remote collaboration tools, AI insights, and wearable devices to enhance productivity. This trend is especially relevant in the era of hybrid work models where teams need to collaborate from different locations. Tools like Zoom and Microsoft Teams have become essential for communication, while wearable tech monitors worker health and safety. However, companies must balance employee privacy with performance tracking to avoid ethical concerns. The workforce management tools market is forecasted to grow to $9.3 billion by 2026. There you have it, the 20 game-changing technology trends shaping the future as we speak.
Well, it's good to know you're still watching the program TV. And before the break, I told you that the president of Nigeria, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's regime is expected to begin in 2026 and will reduce the burden on the poor, low-income earners, and small businesses. According to the president, essential items such as food, medication, education, agriculture, and shared transportation will be exempt from heavy taxes, while multiple taxes on businesses will be reduced. So, the question is the president's position correct? In principle, groups. Business group and this. A lot of Nigerians have been asking a series of questions and wondering who are the people who would benefit from this new tax reform. Well, we have the low-income Nigerians, people who the lower taxes on essentials could reduce their daily expenses and access to food, healthcare, and transport. Do not ask me how that's going to happen, because I am also on the other side of the Nigerians, and I'm hoping to see how we translate. If we're not going to start paying, because I know that when you go to the supermarket to buy stuff, even when you go to a restaurant, you'd see VAT, you're paying for VAT. So there's still that deduction, and these are the small Nigerians, you know, these are like the regular people. So doesn't that mean that for everything that we already pay for, we are paying tax? So how is it exempt from the food? That's what I'm asking, because we are seeing the president is saying, oh, food, transportation,
agriculture,
blah, blah, blah. You know, you're going to be exempt. But when you use a ride, when you do ride hailing, right, you'd see that there's still tax that's deducted from that. I do not want to call any ride-hailing company, but realize that there's still a tax that's deducted. They'll say 30% for tax, 20% for tax. So it means that everybody indirectly has been paying tax in Nigeria.
Yes.
That's what I'm saying. But we want to look at how, I feel this is more about the expansion of the tax scope, and what is it saying? Small business owners are going to start paying, because if you have a business in Nigeria now, a registered business, you would have to pay tax. And so those are the people who are worrying. So let's say you are a small vendor. Your store is online.
Just like me.
Well, just like paying tax. And you're still trying to, the way they are calculating it is by income. So whatever, let's say you're making 200,000 naira. There's a tax that you'd have to pay. as income.
Exactly.
So another thing that I really want us to do, many Nigerians do not still understand how this tax thing is going to be. So if we could have people explain so that we'll avoid, I remember that time there used to be Aripu pay your tax on the radio, and it was like an ad encouraging people to pay tax. If there could be, I know we've had series of English talk, and I'm saying English talk because I've watched some of the interviews with the revenue people, and it's just about, it's English about the tax. The common man wants to understand, if I start paying tax, what does it mean? How do I contribute to paying tax? What must I do to pay my tax? If I have a small business, I do not know about tax. How do I need? And now, because the queues at the bank, by the time money starts leaving people's accounts, you will not understand. So I think that there should be a breakdown of this across boards. We are not saying, we are seeing it across the media, but you know that it's just like during immunization, they deploy people to go into communities. You know, you're teaching about, oh, this is why you need to take the polio vaccine. This is why your child needs to take the polio vaccine. This is why your child needs to be vaccinated. Your child can't stay unimmunized. So you have all of those conversations. People get to feel exactly why the impact of their action will affect everybody around them. So I want us to do that. And Mr. President also, I know that his thoughts for Nigerians are good, but people are asking questions because they know when the president was also a governor in Lagos and people said there was a high level of taxation. People are also thinking to themselves, I hope that this is not the repeat on a larger scale, because this is now a country, not just a state. And so all of that is making questions around improved economic confidence hampered. And you want to just know exactly why. I've been speaking for too long there.
No, but really, in as much as we are saying that we've noticed, we've experienced things like this in time past, you know, when you promise about reduction of cost of living and all of that, and it doesn't play out. But then this time around, we are just hoping the promises are met and then the promises are granted. So like you spoke about small business owners, yes, that is actually another point. I think we need an explanation to what will small business owners do. But then if, for instance, you have a very small shop where you're selling rice, beans and the rest in a very small quantity, and then it is still expensive, it is still sold for instance, a cup of beans is still sold for 400 naira, and then there's a tax law. Now you're still selling for 400 naira because you're buying it expensive. Now you're not even satisfied with the gain that you're getting from selling that cup of beans 400 naira, and then you need to pay tax for it. Now I think it would be better if the reduction in food price or whatsoever we are selling, if there's a reduction in anything we are selling and then we now need to pay tax for it, I think that would be better instead of still buying things in an expensive way and then you still pay tax for it before we now wait for when the reduction in food, agriculture, road and many things that were listed before they start coming to play. I just feel like, yes, like you've rightly said, we need explanation. How do we go about this? Are we getting food and other things at a cheaper rate before paying the tax, or we'll start paying tax before we even start seeing those things, the medicine, food and every other thing becoming cheap in the markets? I just hope that the advantages comes to play out very fast. The advantage between,
you know, the thing is that there's a promise of relief. The president has told us that from 2026 we'll start feeling the relief. However, he's asking for patience, because the truth is, I asked how much chicken was yesterday and they told me 35k
for one chicken.
For one chicken. 35 how? I went for, somebody said it's I even bought my own 36. Huh? One Christmas. And so Nigerians will not judge the tax reforms by promises. It will be by, they go to the market, they can still eat, they can still feed well, they can pay their school fees. So all the promises can go on and on, but if it is mere promises on paper, then it doesn't make sense to me.
Exactly.
Because I want to be able to survive. So we understand the place of patience. We are asking how long do we need to be patient for. We understand the place of hope. But how long do we continue to hope? Because this government says it is the renewed hope agenda. And I know that hope does not pay the bills.
Exactly.
Hope does not pay the bills. What pays the bills are tangible results, not promises, not empty promises. So Nigerians are only going to judge success of this tax reform by easier business operations. They are also going to judge it when they are able to understand exactly how the government is carrying them along. And how will the government carry them along? Because I fear for this, knowing how things work in Nigeria. It's not the first time we are seeing policies. Sometimes the policies come out and, they don't roll out well. Local governments, federal government, state government would have to, at this point, collaborate at a deep level. Because the head cannot be saying something that's different from what the leg is saying. I feel that many local governments will impose more levies on their citizens, on their residents. And the next thing they'll tell you is, first of all, we are not even saying this was not in place and there were many taxes. So you'd see a driver who has to pay for, every time he picks passengers, he's paying 1,000 naira. And that was when we did not have tax reform. I'm saying this is at the local government level, the ward level. Now imagine, and these are the people in the informal sector. I'm saying kabu, what we call kabu, the normal taxi drivers. Now imagine now that the president is saying we are now having a new tax reform and everybody has to comply. Do you know the level of, the way people will have to take advantage of other people who are in the informal sector? They'll take advantage of the farmers. When you go to the market, those women pay taxes. They pay for, I want to sell pepper, I have to pay to keep it.
You have to pay for the place, yes, that you're keeping it.
And that is different from the money you've paid to secure the place.
Yes, exactly.
It's different too. So you pay, and it's not like you pay to one person. Another set will come, sanitation. Another set will come, they'll say water. Another set will come, they'll say it's for
road, for watering the road, the dust and everything.
So, and those are people in the informal sector. So if the government does not put its feet on the ground to say, yes, we are saying there's a tax reform, but these illegal levies that people are being charged, that citizens are being charged, has to stop. If I'm going to pay tax, I have to understand what exactly I'm paying for. The results have to be tangible. Because the way I'm seeing it, a lot of people will take advantage of the ignorant ones. We've all had those informal, and then you ask the chairman says, I don't know anything about it. I've seen interviews where the chairman says he doesn't know anything about some of the market levies or tax that people are paying. You ask the councillor, but these people are they are remitting to somebody.
Yes.
They are remitting, they did not just come in.
And they are not hiding, they are not doing it in a hidden place.
So we're saying all of this because we have a new tax reform underway. And if you're not able to fix it right, Nigerians will judge us not by the promises, but by the results of those promises. And enough of the promises. Let us really see how people in whether the informal or formal sector are going to benefit. And those illegal levies that people have to pay has to go. Because I can't pay tax and I'll have to pay some levies again.
Yes.
They're illegal. So let's see how this pans out. Let's see what the implementation is going to look like in the long run. Because if the implementation looks wrong, then there's going to be a problem. Because what I understand about tax reform is, if it can only work when the implementation is effective. And implementation cannot be effective if all, state, federal, local government are not working hand in hand to ensure that there is transparency. There is something that we've been struggling with, accountability and transparency. Because like I said, a lot of people will take advantage of this reform to capitalize on other people. And the next thing they say, na president talk. The president may not even know about any of this. But because there's been a standing order, people will utilize this opportunity to feed off other people's ignorance. And I'm not sure we want to see
Mhm.
any of that. So we need transparency, we need consistency, we need accountability to determine the public trust. And do not blame the public when they do not trust you. It is because they've had to deal with many policies that failed. They've had to deal with many promises that were unkept. So they've now developed a level of, distrust. So you have to show me something to hold on to for me to trust you. It's not because I have trust issues, but because you've made me lose trust over and over again. And now I need something to hold on to. I think that's what Nigerians need. They need something to hold on to. Because I remember how my mom would say that you just hear them talk and say, we pay tax, we pay tax. They say they will do this, they've not done it. And you just hear that frustration. Because I want to see where my tax is going to. I can't be paying tax and you say the tax is going to fix the road, but then every now and then I have to hold my life in my hand at every gallop.
Yes.
It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense.
Electricity bill and the rest of
it. So the government is no problem to pay tax. Nigerians are law-abiding citizens when things are done right. In fact, we don't even want the burdens to be shifted. We want proper access. We want equal distribution. No, it's not going to be equal. And when I say equal distribution, I mean fairness.
Yes.
I mean fairness, not that because you're earning 10,000 naira, me I'm earning 5k, we'll pay the same.
The same tax, yes. There
has to be fairness.
Yes, proper execution. Everything.
And those illegal levies, that's even my main concern. Those people who do that, pretending to be from the government, they have to be brought to book. They have to be held accountable.
Yes, exactly. They have to be held accountable. We've really spoken well about this tax reform. So I think we need that proper execution when it comes to tax. There should not be, we shouldn't notice anything or experience anything that has to do with overtaxing people. Everybody, every business owner, every working class person should pay according to what they earn and not above. They should pay taxes not above what they earn, but according to what they earn. Imagine somebody that is selling pepper and tomato paying the same tax rate with the person who is earning 200,000 naira in a month or 300,000 naira in a month, or a big business owner. The person who is a very small business owner is paying the same tax rates with that person, with a small business owner. I don't think that would be fair enough. So in as much as we are law-abiding citizens and all of that, I just hope and we wish as well that our government will do justice to this tax reform when it eventually starts. So yes, I think there are benefits. If at all they are properly implemented, there will be benefit. Let us see results. Let us see the benefits on time. Let us see what to hold on to, as you've rightly said. Let us see what to hold on to, so that we'll be triggered to pay our tithes, our tax rather.
That's why you know
we'll be triggered to pay our taxes. We'll feel free to pay our taxes, and then there should not be anything like illegal form of paying tax or overtaxing. Look at the bikemen, for instance. From this junction to this junction,
somebody
they pay tax. Yes, imagine I take a bike of 100 naira. You just move from here to here. They'll tell you, where is your paper? Maybe you've gotten from somewhere else. They'll tell you that the time has elapsed. Like, what is that? They have to, and now there is another tax reform. So only God knows how much that will be, and only God knows how much that 100 naira bike that we used to take, it might now be 200 naira. They'll tell you that tax is high, if not 200, for them to be able to pay their own tax too. So I just wish government at the state level, local level, and then the federal government as well, to just come together to implement this tax reform in the right way.
Well, Dara, time is not on our side anymore, and I like our viewers to contribute by sending in their thoughts, sharing their thoughts, commenting. What do you think about the new tax reform that the president has spoken about? Is it going to help you? Is it shifting burden? Do you think he should widen the tax net? Whatever your thoughts are, do well to share with us, and we'd like to, share with the wider audience. But it's been a great time having this conversation with you, Dara, and
Yes.
I know that we can keep having this conversation, especially as we get into 2026. A lot is going to happen, but we must hold each other,
Yes.
hold the government accountable.
We just have to do our part as
Do our
citizens
part.
too. Yeah.
Yeah, but if there are places to ask questions, please ask questions. And I'm advocating seriously for, knowledge and sensitization of people about the tax. I really think that many people do not understand. And to avoid people being taken advantage of, we need to have this education go round. We need people to be aware of what they're getting involved in, how the tax is going to affect them, what they need to pay for, what the tax is, because people do not still understand.
Yes.
And they should be spoken to in the language that they understand. Do not speak to me about tax in English.
Exactly.
Speak Igbo, speak Hausa, speak to me in
Say
the language I
language
appreciate. Speak in pidgin,
Do we need
that's what I'm
tax
saying.
identification number to be able to pay tax? All of this.
So those are things, those are conversations that people in the informal sector do not know. And even people who are in the formal sector, they still need a clear understanding. So this is a call to the government, the tax bodies, everybody in charge of ensuring that citizens of Nigeria pay their tax. Hold us accountable, but you too sensitize us and teach us. Tell us what we need to do. Well, that's the much we can take this morning. My name is Chinatu Oji, and before I leave you, I'd like to remind you also to do well to download all our bulletins available on our website, available on YouTube as the mini documentaries. We really put in a lot of expertise into that, and we can't wait to have you get the narrative that we have about Africa. It's a narrative that you'll be proud of, and we want you to share in that story by sharing, by downloading, and it's
It is
free.
free. Exactly.
Very free. You're not paying for it.
Yes.
So tell your friends to tell their friends to tell their other friends that the idea bulletins we have, idea persons of interest we have, idea foundations of interest, we have idea entertainers and artists of interest, we have idea SMEs, government agencies, a whole lot of work from Africans by Africans for Africans to telling that story, and we wanted to be part of it. Well, also, I think I have to run now. There are last words before we go.
So yes, so you've heard what she said. You need to download our bulletin, and it is for free.
Yeah.
And then do also drop us your thoughts on the stories that we've brought to you today. We'd like to hear from you. What do you think? Drop your opinion. What do you think should be done? What do you think should have been done better? We'd like to hear from you. Just drop your comments on our platforms.
Thank you so much, Dara. But this just crossed my mind, and I'd like to leave it with our viewers and everybody who is involved with making the tax reform possible. The truth is, the tax reforms sound right on paper, but their success depends on delivery, enforcement, and real-time impact on daily life. And when we say daily life, we mean the daily life of the ordinary Nigerians, of the citizens, of everybody who voted or did not vote. But everybody in the real sense will be affected by this. So let's not just make this sound right on paper. Let us ensure that there's tangible delivery and results can be held. Well, until next time, my name is Chinatu Oji, and I've been with
Chidera, okay.
Bye for now.
Bye.